Have you ever wondered how religious tolerance took root in history? This question sparks the beginning of our journey into the past, a voyage that unravels the birth and evolution of religious tolerance. Religious tolerance, as a practice, is as old as civilization itself. Ancient societies like Persia and India are prime examples of early adopters of this progressive concept. The Persian Empire, under Cyrus the Great, was known for its respect towards the religions of the lands they conquered. This approach was not merely a political strategy, but a reflection of the empire's inherent value of diversity. Similarly, in ancient India, Emperor Ashoka promoted religious tolerance and harmony after witnessing the horrors of war. His edicts, inscribed on pillars and rocks across his vast empire, advocated non-violence, respect for all sects, and moral duties transcending religious boundaries. But let's fast forward to Europe during the Enlightenment period, a time of intellectual and philosophical revolution. In the Russian Empire, the journey towards religious tolerance was a unique one. The landscape of faith in Russia before Catherine the Great was a mosaic of dominance and marginalization. The Russian Orthodox Church reigned supreme, its roots deeply embedded in the nation's history, culture, and identity. Yet beneath its towering presence, other faiths existed, though they were often pushed to the periphery. Imagine a vast empire where one religion is the sun around which all others must orbit. This was the reality for non-Orthodox Christians in Russia. They were the distant planets, forced to revolve around the Orthodox Church's powerful gravitational pull. Their freedom to practice their faith was restricted, their traditions often misunderstood, and their voices frequently silenced. Yet within this environment of religious dominance, a potent seed was being sown. The seed of change. The marginalized faiths, in their struggle for recognition and freedom, were unknowingly paving the way for a revolution of tolerance. They were highlighting the need for a shift from religious uniformity to diversity, from suppression to freedom. This was the Russian context into which Catherine the Great was thrust. A world where the Orthodox Church was the defining voice, where other Christian denominations, Muslims, Jews, and pagans were often in the shadows. Yet, these shadows were not silent. They whispered of the need for change, for tolerance, for freedom. As the whispers grew louder, they started to echo within the walls of the imperial palace. They reached the ears of a woman who would become a beacon of change, a woman who would challenge the status quo, who would dare to envision a Russia where all faiths could exist in harmony, where the sun of the Orthodox Church would no longer eclipse the planets of other religions. Change was on the horizon, and it was to take the form of a woman, Catherine the Great. Catherine the Great, a name synonymous with progressive reform and vision. Born as Sophie Friederike Augusta von Anhalt-Zerbst-Dornburg in Prussia, she was later known as Catherine when she converted to Orthodoxy and married Peter III of Russia. Her ascension to power in 1762 after a successful coup d'état marked the beginning of a new era in Russian history. Catherine was a woman of intellect, a voracious reader who immersed herself in the writings of Enlightenment philosophers. She corresponded with Voltaire and Diderot, absorbing their ideas and incorporating them into her vision for Russia. She held a deep commitment to progressive ideals, envisioning a diverse and tolerant Russian empire. Her reign was marked by a remarkable desire for change, a desire that extended to the realm of religious freedom. The Russia she inherited was deeply orthodox, with little room for religious diversity. Yet Catherine, influenced by the Enlightenment ideals of tolerance and freedom, envisioned a different path. She believed in the freedom of faith, in the right of every individual to practice their religion without fear of persecution. This was a radical idea in a time when religious uniformity was often enforced by the state. Yet Catherine was not just a dreamer. She was a pragmatist, aware that her vision could only be realized through concrete action. She sought to promote religious tolerance within her empire, to create a space where diversity could thrive. Her commitment to this cause was not just philosophical, it was deeply personal. As a convert to orthodoxy herself, she understood the importance of religious freedom on a profound level. Catherine's interactions with Enlightenment thinkers played a pivotal role in shaping her views on religious tolerance. She saw in their writings a blueprint for a more equitable society, a society where religious diversity was not just tolerated but celebrated. These ideas would become a cornerstone of her reign, influencing her policies and leaving a lasting impact on Russian history. Catherine was not just a visionary, she was a woman of action, and she set out to transform her vision into reality. Her commitment to religious tolerance would be enshrined in the Charter of the Towns, a landmark decree that promoted harmony and diversity within the Russian Empire. But that story, dear listeners, is for the next scene. The Charter of the Towns, a landmark decree, was Catherine's tool for change. This remarkable document, issued in the heart of the 18th century, was a beacon of hope, a symbol of progress, and a testament to Catherine's commitment to religious tolerance. The Charter, in its essence, was a Bill of Rights for towns across the Russian Empire. It laid out guidelines for local governance, economic development, and most significantly, religious freedom. This was a time when religious discrimination was rampant, and the Orthodox Christian faith was the accepted norm in Russia. But Catherine dared to challenge this status quo, and the Charter was her weapon of choice. One of the most notable provisions of the Charter was the freedom it granted to non-Orthodox Christians to practice their faith. This was a monumental stride towards religious tolerance. For the first time, members of minority religions, whether they were Lutherans, Catholics, or Jews, could openly express and practice their beliefs without fear of persecution. They could build their churches, conduct their rituals, and live their faith, just like their Orthodox counterparts. But the Charter did more than just grant religious freedoms. It was a statement of acceptance, a declaration that every citizen, regardless of their faith, had a place in the Russian Empire. The Charter of the Towns was a stepping stone towards a more inclusive society, a society where diversity was not just tolerated but celebrated. Yet it's important to remember that the Charter was more than just words on a parchment. It was a reflection of Catherine's vision, her commitment to creating a more tolerant and harmonious society. The Charter was a tangible manifestation of her beliefs, a testament to her dedication to religious freedom. The Charter of the Towns was not just a piece of legislation, it was a statement of intent, a promise of a more tolerant future. It was Catherine's declaration to her people and to the world that she was committed to embracing diversity, promoting harmony, and fostering religious tolerance within the Russian Empire. Catherine's commitment to religious tolerance left a lasting legacy. This is the story of how the Charter of the Towns reshaped Russian society and sowed the seeds of harmony and diversity within the Russian Empire. The impact of the Charter was far-reaching. By granting non-Orthodox Christians the freedom to practice their faith, Catherine the Great broke the mold of religious uniformity that had defined the Russian Empire. She opened the door to a society where different faiths could coexist, not as rivals, but as equal threads in the tapestry of Russian culture. This was a significant step towards a more inclusive society, a society that valued diversity and respected the rights of its citizens to follow their own spiritual path. But the Charter did more than just promote diversity. It also fostered harmony within the empire. With the freedom to practice their faith, non-Orthodox Christians no longer had to hide or suppress their beliefs. They could live openly and honestly, and in doing so, they could contribute to the richness and vitality of Russian society. The Charter, in essence, gave voice to the silent, and in doing so, created a more harmonious society. Catherine's commitment to religious tolerance didn't just alter the religious landscape of the Russian Empire, it also set a precedent. It showed that a society could be both diverse and harmonious, that it could respect the rights of its citizens without sacrificing unity. This vision of a tolerant society continues to inspire today. In a world where divisions often seem more prevalent than unity, Catherine's legacy is a beacon of hope. It reminds us that tolerance is not just a lofty ideal, but a tangible reality that can be achieved through vision, action, and a commitment to the rights of all individuals. Catherine the Great, a woman of vision, action, and tolerance, left an indelible mark on the pages of history. Her legacy reminds us that diversity and harmony are not just ideals, but achievable realities.